Whatever stage you're at with your trading, it's important to stop and gain perspective before planning your next move. Take a break from the charts and join in the discussion with our hosts, Jason Graystone and Akil Stokes, as they share insights, opinions and expertise on all things trading. Grab a coffee, pull up a chair and join the Trader Coffee Break.
Well. Welcome back to the Trader Coffee Break. I'm Jason Graystone.
I am Akil Stokes. I've got a coffee this time for the first time in a while.
You need it if you're running the kids and everything, right?
Do I ever?
We're just saying Akil's missus is a little bit under the weather and he's looking after the school run and all the other things that come with part of being a mum.
I'll tell you that trading in comparison, trading is a lot easier than that stuff. Take me back to the markets, please. Gosh.
Cool. So welcome back, guys. If this is the first time you're listening, there's a wealth of information and discussions on trading topics on this channel. And the discussions that we have aren't really planned out. They're just kind of off our head, what we think will be valuable to talk about. And just before this session, we decided that we was going to talk about methodology in trading and not random acts. And this is something that Akil was telling me came off of a discussion in your live room, right, Akil?
Yeah, and my live room, it came off of personal experience, but essentially just to give you guys a little bit of a backstory is, we work with traders on a regular basis and part of the whole developmental program of traders is, yes, we have training courses. Yes, we have live sessions, but they have access to us to really dig into deeper questions when they're developing a trade plan, when they're bouncing off ideas. Hey, what do you think about that? Or should I do this? And we're constantly giving feedback. And there was a trader that sent me a trade plan and I got to it this weekend, went over it. And, I had a few comments saying, hey, you might want to look at this. We don't want to give them all the answers, right? We point them in the right direction because it is important that you do your own work. If you just get the answers, you don't really understand how to solve any of the questions. So we kind of point you in the direction of, hey, I would look at this, try this out, but also try this and ultimately let you make your own decision. But one of the big ones that caught up to me was, we spoke about this in the live room this morning, was about a stop loss. A trader had a specific method for a stop loss. And I had a question. The question was simple. Why? Why is the stop loss there? And I think you'll find that in your personal trading, if you just take a second to sit back and ask yourself, why am I doing this or why am I doing that? I think you're going to find a lot of instances where you don't have an answer. And if you don't have an answer for what you're doing, it goes back to what Jason said. Are you actually trading with reason or are you just doing a random action? And a random action, it may work now, it may work in the future, it may work a little bit in the past, but ultimately there's going to be no long-term consistency to that. And you're going to be one of those Mark Douglas traders that are in that boom or bust cycle or, doing, the wounded crab or the hamster wheel, whatever you want to call it. You're going to go up and down, but never kind of have a consistent path to profitability. So I thought it was a cool topic to talk about. Do you actually know what you're doing in your trading? And I would ask you this, Jason, you've been doing this for a while and you've kind of, for you guys that don't know, Jason didn't come out as a superstar trader like all of us. We kind of had our bumps in the road, but when you first started off, did you ever have any instances where you were just trying stuff, but not understanding why, or guess what brought you to kind of understand reason for your action in trading?
Yeah. I mean, of course I had times like that. And that was mainly down to me not quite appreciating how complex trading was or what trading was really about. It was naivety, really. But before then, most of my actions in business and in life have been around like a certain outcome and working towards a certain outcome. And if you want a certain outcome, you can't have random acts. Like you need to have consistent consistent behavior, consistent approach, and do things consistently that allow you to get a consistent result. You can't expect to, you can't expect to hit a target by randomly throwing things at a dartboard. You have to, you have to do the same things and the right things in the right order every single day to move closer and closer towards that goal. If you're trying to generate consistent profits in the market, the first thing you need to think about is being consistent. And the way that you're consistent is by having a reasoning behind why you're doing what you're doing each and every step of the way, as Akil just said. And that is a powerful thing. If you ask yourself, why am I doing this? And even if that goes back to like something you've been taught, someone's told you to do something, just ask this question, like, why? Why am I doing this? Question them, question their advice, question, for instance, a popular one, like for me, is I do a lot of higher time frame swing trading. And if I was to teach someone, if someone was to try and teach me, well, you should do this on the lower time frame, and I don't ask myself, well, why am I doing this? Then I'm going to find myself in a situation where I'm actually trading in a way that isn't like complementary to my goals and my life of freedom. Like I don't want to be stuck at a chart all day. Whereas some people, they do want to be doing that, and they want to get in the habit of, working towards prop firm trading, or go and work at a desk in London or New York or wherever it might be. And yes, you would want that. But for someone like me, if I didn't ask myself why, and then all of a sudden I've developed this system that requires me to be at my charts for 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, then that's not going to be, that's not going to be what I want in the end. So that's going to then make me be a little bit resentful. But ultimately, I think the biggest message is, if you want a consistent result, you got to do consistent things. And the way to do consistent things is to have a plan and stick by a plan, right? And that's not just trading, that's anything. I mean, you can relate this to your track and field, right?
Yeah, I mean, tons of examples. I was actually just about to go there in track and field. It's just in training an aspect for any sport. What the coach does is I write a year-long plan, in the summer. So, our season, basically we start up, we train during the summer, but I get them from August till May. And I have a year-long plan of what I want to do. Now, the specifics within that plan change, but it's an idea of what direction I want to go in. What am I going to do to accomplish those things? And I think one of the things I learned being a younger coach to an older coach is, a younger coach, and this is kind of like trading as well, as a younger trader, I would peruse the internet or books, and I would just look for signals, right? I would look for, or not signals, but strategies. Like, what is this strategy? Ooh, that looks cool. Let's try it out. Lose money. Okay, what is this strategy? I would go back and forth, kind of looking for the answer. In track and field and coaching, I did the same thing. What is the magic workout that's going to make someone better overnight? And the answer is, there is no magic workout. The key is understanding, what do I want to accomplish? Do I want to build endurance? Do I want to build speed, right? Same thing in the weight room. Do I want to, do I want to bulk up? Do I want to slim down? And then what you'll find is that within those categories, those goals, right, there's a wealth of different ways you can handle it. There's no kind of one way you can do it. There are many different ways you can go about achieving those goals, and it's up to you to find the one that is the best fit. So with athletics, it's reading my athlete, where it's saying, okay, I want to build speed. Okay, what is the best way to build speed for this particular athlete? And then we hit these type of workouts to achieve that, and it may be different for another athlete. And trading is exactly the same, because we hear about these three main methods, right? There's like, I guess two: counter trend trading and trend continuation trading. We had to kind of separate things into two categories. That's, are you going with the trend, or are you one of those weirdos that are against the trend? And understanding that within those two categories, there are so many ways that you can trade, right? You could be a trend continuation trader that trades pullbacks. You can trade breakouts. You could be a counter trend trader that trades structure. You can, and entries within that, it goes on and on forever. So I think the first step that a trader needs to do, if you're developing kind of a philosophy or a methodology over the market, is, start off by understanding, okay, what side of the market do I want to attack? Do I want to be trend continuation? Then do I want to be counter trend? And then once you decide that, boom, half your battle is done. You're only focused on, let's say, trend continuation.
Yeah.
Once you're focused on trend continuation, now you go through the handful of different ways you could be a trend continuation trader. And like you said, you find a fit that's best for you. If you want to be a day trader and spend hours in front of the chart, maybe you're prepping to work for a prop firm or something like that, you can do it that way. If you want kind of more time freedom, you want to do a 4 hour, check every couple hours, you can do that. You can be a breakout trader, you can be a pullback trader. That's when it comes down to kind of figuring out what best fits you. And we tell our traders when they come through the courses, like, hey, explore everything.
Yeah.
Play around with everything in the sandbox and then see what naturally fits. Like some people have a different taste. Some people have a different feel where, hey, I'm really good at this, but I can't really see that well. Or man, I really suck at this, but this I picked up pretty easy. And then it's all about finding what's that best fit for you. And then being, like you said, deliberate, intentional, and consistent with your actions as far as pursuing it.
Absolutely. And a methodology, the most powerful thing about a methodology, as Akil just touched on, is it's unique to you. It's a method that's created by you. So you play around with some strategies and then you're really looking to develop your edge based on making that strategy fit your personality and your capabilities, mental capabilities, your lifestyle capabilities, so that you can consistently trade it. And if you go onto Wikipedia and type up methodology, you literally get the power of a method is inversely proportional to the generality of the method, i.e., the more specific the method, the more powerful. And that is it. It's unique to you, and it's something that you can create, adopt, consistently execute, and that's what's going to make you a powerful trader, having that methodology. The more time you spend doing random acts and chopping and changing and tweaking and or whatever, is really not going to get you to produce your best results. Your best results will come from having a method and then managing that method. And that is it. So is there anyone in the chat, if you're watching the replay of this or if you're here live watching now, let us know if you have a method. I think a great thing to touch on again is the power of why. I've spoken about an exercise called the power of the three whys, and some of you may have heard of it, but it's essentially when you ask why to the why. So if you're doing something and you haven't really questioned why you're doing it, ask yourself why you're doing it, right? But the next question is why to that answer, and then why to that answer. And what you'll realize is you'll get a really crystal clear motivation for the action that you're doing. And it could be something that you've developed and you've tested and it works and it fits with you, or you'll fish out some ambiguity based on what someone else has told you because it's worked for them, or they said a friend and a friend down the pub, it worked for them. And you'll kind of have this heat map of good quality whys and poor quality whys. And you can then work on ditching or really filtering out those low quality whys to further give your methodology more and more power. It's something funny. I recommend doing.
Funny you mentioned that, because I heard, when I first heard that from you, right? Obviously, brain blew up, melted all over the floor, all that stuff. But it really changed my parenting, right? Because I got two young kids. One's 7, one just turned 4, and I heard this a little bit ago from you. And the younger one was at that why phase in his life. And if you guys that are parents, you know what that is, where it's like, why, and it's real annoying. And I found myself as a parent just like getting annoyed and taking the shortcut answer. Like, why is this kid asking why to everything? Why is this color this? Why is that? Why do you do that? And it's really annoying. And it actually, it made me stop myself, because I realized, like, he's doing the right thing. Like, my kid isn't doing this to be annoying. Like, he's at that age of, maybe not quite unconscious incompetence, but the world is brand new. He's trying to figure out and understand things. He's trying to develop his own methodology about life and why is this, why is that. He's in this age of gathering as much information as he can, and keeping the relevant stuff, hopefully most of the relevant stuff, and then throwing other stuff away. And it made me really sit down and think about, hey, like, instead of just pushing it to the side and giving the short answer, like, I should actually be answering these questions for him, because this is going to help him in the future. If I'm explaining why, some of these lessons that he that he keeps are going to last for a very long time.
Yeah.
And like you said, I remember stuff that I heard when I was little that my dad just told me. And then, like, 30 years later, I realized he was lying. Like, I think like one of them was like, oh yeah, like the sky is blue because it reflects the water. And I'm like, as a kid, like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then you realize, like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But that stuff sticks with you until you hear otherwise. And in trading, right, there are a lot of good educators out there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of crap out there as well. Yeah. And the thing is, as a newer trader in that why phase, that unconscious incompetence phase where you don't know what you don't know, you can't really filter the crap from the good information. So it really becomes, what do I see first? And what do you see first? Well, the first thing I see when I load up YouTube is an ad of some guy telling me about his magic strategy and this and this and this and this. And if you're naive and you don't know any better, you're going to believe it. And you're going to take what he says. You're going to try it. You're probably not going to test it or do anything you should be because you don't know about that process yet. And then you're going to go out there and lose money. You're going to be you're not going to understand why you're losing money because you don't understand what you're doing or why you're doing it. You're simply doing it because someone else is doing it and you think it's right.
Yeah.
And at that point, you really have a crossroads. You have two choices. Well, one, if you're listening to, shows like this, you start questioning what you're doing. You say, wait a minute, I should get on the right path here. But if you're not even familiar with the fact that you should be questioning stuff, you just go to the next thing and you try that and you repeat the process and you live that life forever until you run across something that causes you to change and hopefully you don't go broke by the time that happens.
Great. I was talking to a trader yesterday and believe it or not, this is a great example. There are people out there teaching people to scalp trades on the 1 minute chart, right? And let me,
sorry,
this guy was scalping the 1 minute charts with a 1 pip target, 1 pip stop loss, right? Now, the spread was 2 pips. So there are people out there. And then just by stopping and going, hang on, why is this person teaching me to do this? And then you do a bit of digging and you realize the guy has got a deal with a broker to get you to place as many trades as possible because they're getting paid on every trade that you take. Of course, right? 1 minute chart. But they're so dumb that the people selling these courses that they don't think, oh, hang on a minute, it's 2 pip spread, 1 pip target. At least think about 3 pips or something like that, right? But they don't even think about that. They're just telling you information that's not conducive to your goals. And just by stopping and asking why and thinking about it, you can really uncover you might feel stupid for a moment, but at least you've stopped the bleeding before it's too painful, right? Rather than getting too far down the line. So that was a great one.
Oh my gosh. I was checking my calendar to make sure it wasn't April 1st. I'm like, it's got to be an April Fool's joke. If you're saying that, man, that's ridiculous. But it's true. You see so much of that stuff. It was funny, speaking of whys, kind of a game-changing moment in my trading career was, back when I first started trading, I was hopping from system to system, like doing all the shortcut stuff, never asking why. And a game-changing moment came when someone asked me a question, right? So I was a trend trader, right?
Yeah.
It was a trend trading strategy. But I called myself a trend trader. And I remember I was posting to the internet or something, probably my blog or whatever like that, about this trend continuation setup. And I got the question from just a random person who was following the blog. And he was like, hey, how do we know that we're in a bullish trend? And that was the first moment I stopped and I'm like, how do I know that I'm in a bullish trend? And it made me question because I want to respond. I always respond to everyone. I'm like, I didn't know how to give them a response. And then it hit me. I'm a trend continuation trader, but I can't really explain how to identify a trend. And it was like, something's wrong here. Yeah. And I swear that was a game-changing moment because it was the first time I was ever faced. I guess I was forced to ask myself the question why in responding, and I didn't have an answer.
Yeah.
I was just following the strategy, but I had no idea if the strategy was actually in line with what the strategy was supposed to accomplish.
Yeah.
And it made me take a few steps back and really go back to learning the basics, which was massive. So you got to ask yourself that question or have accountability partners who are willing to ask you that question. Hey, why are you doing this? And I know we do this in the live room all the time. So we never try to tell a trader they're wrong. That's part of our, unless there's something like ridiculous, like trading the 1 minute chart, looking for a 1 pip target. Like, I don't think you'll ever hear Jason or myself be like, what you're doing is wrong, because there is no wrong. I mean, look at the market wizards out there. There is no wrong. It's going to be different for everyone. But we will ask you the question, hey, why is your stop there? Why is this your entry? Why are you looking in that direction? And the test that we're trying to give you when we do that is, we don't really care what your answer is, right? Jason could be long, I could be short, and we can both be right at the same time. But do you have an answer?
Yeah.
And if you have an answer, if you can explain it, hey, Jason, I'm long because we just broke this previous level of structure and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, perfect. But if you're sitting there like, well, I'm long because you need to go back and revisit that. I think that's a little bit that makes our teaching a little bit different than a lot of teachers out there. I've seen so many teachers out there that are just telling, hey, you're right, you're wrong. It's either my way or the highway. And that's just not the right way to develop. Everyone is unique. Yeah. But there are certain principles, certain guidelines that you need to follow if you want to be consistently profitable.
Yeah, absolutely. So great lesson. And I think it would be great in the comments, if you're watching this later on, to let us know what's something that you haven't really questioned. What's one way that you could really tighten up your methodology and clear out some of those wires and get rid of some of the things that aren't conducive to your trading goals? And let us know in the comments what you've done, to clear out the fluff from your trade plan to really refine your methodology. I'd be interested to hear you guys' methodologies as well. And remember, the more unique they are, the more kind of simplistic they are, the more powerful they can be. So cut the fluff. Less is more. That's what this show is all about, right? So
that's a t-shirt, man. Cut the fluff. I love that.
Cut the fluff. Indeed. All right. So on that note, I think we'll cut it there. And if you guys have been tuning in, thank you very much. Let us know if there's any topics you want to discuss on this show or any rants. Maybe you've had an argument with your friend who thinks you're nuts for getting into trading, and let us know what their argument was. We'd love to talk about those kind of discussions, those awkward moments that you're faced with as a trader.
Invite your friend on too, so we can have a debate. Invite your friend.
Yeah, invite them in. Excellent. And all that's left to say from myself and the amazing Akil is have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you on the next coffee break. Take care.
Thanks for joining us for the Trader Coffee Break. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to never miss a live discussion. Follow our hosts on social media. And remember, do nothing to gain perspective on everything. See you next week.